The silk sheets whispered against Alexander Harrington's skin as he lay there, heart pounding like a war drum in the dim pre-dawn light of his Manhattan penthouse, every muscle coiled tight under the pretense of oblivion. He could hear the soft pad of footsteps, hesitant, almost reverent, drawing closer, the faint scent of fresh coffee and sandalwood cologne cutting through the stale air of his isolation. In that suspended moment, as the figure loomed over him, Alex's world teetered on the edge of a confession he hadn't planned to force, a single breath away from shattering the fragile empire he'd built on secrets. Jamie Rivera paused at the threshold of the master suite, the tray balanced precariously in his hands. Black coffee, no sugar, just as Mr. Harrington liked it, steam curling up like ghosts from a life he could never touch. At 24, Jamie had learned to navigate this gilded cage with the grace of someone who'd grown up scrubbing its floors, his mother's hands guiding his own through the rituals of service. Maria, the housekeeper who'd been with the Harrington family since before Alex inherited the fortune, had drilled it into him, eyes down, heart steady, and never, ever let them see you dream. But dreams had a way of bleeding through, especially when the man they orbited was Alexander Harrington, the tech titan whose apps connected millions but left him adrift in a sea of empty boardrooms and hollow victories. The penthouse sprawled across the top of a Fifth Avenue tower, a monument to old money laced with new ambition, marble floors veined like cracked lightning, walls lined with abstract art that screamed silence. Jamie set the tray on the nightstand with a barely audible clink, his gaze snagging on the figure in the bed. Alex lay unnaturally still, chest rising and falling in the rhythm of deep sleep, his chiseled features softened by shadows, silver threading through his dark hair like warnings of time's theft. At 48, he was the kind of handsome that aged like fine whiskey, sharp jaw, piercing blue eyes that could dismantle a rival with a glance. But right now, in repose, he looked almost fragile. Jamie's breath caught, a familiar ache twisting in his chest. He'd seen Alex like this before, after marathon nights poring over code that could make or break empires, but today felt different, heavier, leaning closer to adjust the blanket. Pure habit. Really? Jamie froze when Alex's hand twitched, fingers brushing his wrist like an electric current. Was he awake? No, impossible. The man slept like the dead after those 18-hour days. But the touch lingered, warm and deliberate, sending a jolt straight to Jamie's core. He pulled back, cheeks flushing under his olive skin, cursing the way his heart raced. Get it together, he thought. He's straight as a boardroom table, married to his work. Rumors swirled in the tabloids. Divorces, flings with starlets. But Jamie knew better. Alex was a fortress, walls built from boarding school betrayals and Wall Street wolves who'd sniffed out his secret freshman year at Yale. Closeted, armored, untouchable. Yet Jamie couldn't shake the pull. It had started innocently enough, 6 months ago when Maria twisted her ankle on the spiral staircase, begging her son to fill in during her recovery. Jamie, fresh out of community college with a half-finished graphic design degree and a portfolio of sketches no gallery wanted, had jumped at the chance. Extra cash meant rent on his cramped Brooklyn walk-up, maybe even a shot at that queer art collective in Bushwick. But stepping into Alex's world was like diving into a riptide, disorienting, exhilarating, dangerous. Late nights when the city hummed below, Jamie would linger in the study, dusting shelves of first-edition hardcovers while Alex typed furiously, oblivious to the way his shirt sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms corded with quiet strength. Conversations had bloomed from there, a shared laugh over a glitchy prototype, Jamie's offhand critique of the minimalist decor. It's like living in a museum, no soul. Alex had looked up then, really looked, blue eyes crinkling at the corners. Soul's overrated when you're building the future. Kid. The word stung, a reminder of the chasm between them. Billionaire versus the Maid'S boy, straight-laced mogul versus the out-and-proud gay kid from Queens who'd marched in his first pride at 16. Jamie was no stranger to longing. His ex, Tyler, had ghosted him after a year of whispered promises, leaving scars that still itched under his skin. But Alex? He was a different beast, a man who commanded rooms with a nod but flinched at his own reflection in the ensuite mirror. Jamie had caught glimpses. A lingering stare during a rooftop barbecue. The way Alex's voice softened when Jamie talked about his art. Sketches of intertwined figures that danced on the edge of explicit without crossing it. Hope was a fool's game, though. Maria warned him nightly. He's not for you, Mijo. Men like that collect hearts like they do watches. Polish him up and lock him away. This morning, though, as Jamie straightened the duvet, something shifted. Alex's breathing hitched, almost imperceptibly, and Jamie's instincts screamed test. He knew the stories from the staff grapevine. Alex's paranoia after that boardroom coup 2 years back, when his CFO siphoned millions and fled to the Caymans. Trust was currency in this world, rarer than diamonds. Was this another probe? Pretending to sleep to see if the help would pilfer a Rolex or whisper to the press. Jamie's jaw tightened, a spark of defiance flaring. Fine. If it was a game, he'd play. He reached out, not to steal, but to trace the line of Alex's jaw with the barest graze of fingertips. Soft, reverent. The kind of touch that confessed everything words couldn't. Alex's eyes remained shut, but his body betrayed him. A shiver, the pulse jumping at his throat. Jamie's heart thundered. What are you doing? But he couldn't stop, leaning in until his lips hovered inches from Alex's ear. You don't have to hide, he murmured, voice barely a breath. Not from me. Then, pulling back as if burned, he fled the room, tray forgotten, pulse roaring in his ears like the distant wail of sirens. Down in the kitchen, Maria arched a brow over her coffee, her salt and pepper bun impeccable even at 5 a.m. You look like you saw a ghost, Jamie. Or chased one. He forced a laugh, busying himself with the espresso machine, but the words lodged in his throat like thorns. Chased one? More like summoned. Upstairs, Alex's eyes snapped open the moment the door clicked shut, his chest heaving as if he'd run a marathon. The touch, God, the touch, lingered like a brand, Jamie's words echoing in the vault of his skull. You don't have to hide. How did the kid know? Alex sat up, sheets pooling around his waist, staring at the cityscape where dawn bled pink across the spires. Paranoia clawed at him. He'd staged the whole thing on a whim last night, insomnia twisting his thoughts into knots. Pretend to sleep, see if Jamie was the leak, the one who'd overheard that heated call with his lawyer about the impending merger, the whispers of sabotage from within. But this was revelation, raw and unfiltered, freezing him in place as truth crashed down. Jamie saw him, really saw him, in ways no one had since that fumbling kiss behind the Yale stacks 25 years ago. The day unfolded in a blur of meetings, venture capitalists in Soho lofts, pitches for the next AI darling that would revolutionize empathy, while Alex felt none of his own. But Jamie haunted the edges. A glimpse in the hallway, dark eyes averted but cheeks still flushed. The coffee left on his desk with a napkin sketch of a lone wolf under city lights. Caption, even alphas need a pack. Alex's fingers trembled as he pocketed it, a crack forming in the armor he'd forged from rejection. His father's cold dismissal after finding those dog-eared paperbacks of queer poetry in his dorm, the parade of beards he'd dated to prove something to the world. By evening, as rain lashed the windows like accusations, Alex found himself in the library, Jamie dusting the mahogany shelves under the guise of overtime. Kid? Alex said, voice rougher than intended, swirling bourbon in a crystal tumbler. Jamie turned, cloth paused mid-swipe, and there it was again, that electric pull like gravity reorienting. About this morning, Alex trailed off, the words sticking. Jamie's laugh was soft, self-deprecating, as he set the cloth down. You mean the part where I almost gave you a heart attack? Or the part where I mouthed off to a sleeping billionaire? Defiance laced with vulnerability, and Alex felt it like a gut punch. He set the glass down, closing the distance in 3 strides, the air thickening. I wasn't sleeping, he admitted, the confession slipping free like a stone from a crumbling wall. Jamie's eyes widened, but he didn't retreat. Then what? Testing if I'd rob you blind? Or something else? The question hung, charged, and Alex's hand lifted hesitant to cup Jamie's cheek, thumb tracing the curve of bone. Time fractured, Jamie leaned in, breath mingling, and for a heartbeat, the world narrowed to the heat between them. Their lips met, tentative, then fervent, a dam breaking after years of drought. It was everything Alex had denied. Tender, fierce, a promise whispered in the language of touch. Jamie tasted like coffee and courage, hands fisting in Alex's shirt as if anchoring a storm. When they broke apart, foreheads pressed, Jamie whispered, "I've seen you, Alex. All of you. And I want the mess, not the mask." In that library, surrounded by leather-bound lies, something real ignited. They talked then, haltingly at first, then in floods. Jamie shared the sting of Tyler's betrayal, the ex who'd outed him to his conservative abuela for sport. Alex unspooled the thread of his closeted life, the merger that could topple him if the board sniffed weakness. Laughter bubbled up, unexpected, as Jamie teased, "A billionaire afraid of a little rainbow? Honey, that's your first bug in the code." By midnight, as Maria's snores echoed from the guest wing, they parted with a chaste kiss at Jamie's door. More tomorrow, eyes promising galaxies. But empires don't yield to heartbeats. The next week blurred into stolen moments. Rooftop walks under starless skies, Jamie's sketches evolving to include a certain blue-eyed figure, Alex's calls laced with warmth that puzzled his assistant. Maria noticed, her sharp eyes narrowing over dinner one night. "Be careful, Mijo. Hearts like his are wired for self-destruct." Jamie waved it off, high on the romance of it all. The way Alex's laugh rumbled like thunder when Jamie dragged him to a hole-in-the-wall taqueria in the village, insisting on street cred over Michelin stars. For the first time, Alex felt human, not a headline. Yet shadows loomed. The merger talks heated, whispers of a mole feeding intel to competitor Victor Lang, Alex's old Yale rival with a grudge as deep as the Hudson. Alex doubled security, eyes darting to Jamie in paranoia-fueled flashes. Was it him? The kid with the easy smile and artist's hands? No, impossible. But doubt festered, a poison in the vein. One evening, as they tangled on the couch, kisses deepening, hands exploring with reverent fire, Alex pulled back, breath ragged. "Jamie, the leak. It's someone close." Jamie's face fell, understanding dawning. "You think it's me?" Hurt cracked his voice, and Alex's denial came too late, the seed of betrayal sown in fertile ground. The fracture started small, a hairline crack in the foundation of what they'd built, but it spiderwebbed fast under the relentless pressure of Alex's world. Board meetings bled into crisis calls, Victor Lang's shadow lengthening with each leaked email, prototype specs, acquisition bids, each one a dagger aimed at Harrington Tech's throat. Alex paced the penthouse like a caged panther, bourbon his only constant, while Jamie hovered on the periphery, offering coffee and quiet support that felt increasingly like tiptoeing through a minefield. "Talk to me," Jamie pleaded one rain-soaked afternoon, cornering Alex in the study where monitors glowed like accusatory eyes. "This isn't just business. It's eating you." Alex sank into the leather chair, rubbing temples etched with new lines. "It's everything, Jamie. If this merger tanks, it's not just stock dips. It's jobs, legacies, me exposed." Exposed. The word hung heavy, layered with meanings neither wanted to unpack. Jamie knelt before him, hands on Alex's knees, brown eyes steady as harbor lights. "Then let me in. All the way. No more tests, no more pretending." Alex's fingers threaded through Jamie's hair, the gesture achingly tender, pulling him up for a kiss that tasted of desperation and salt. Tears, maybe, though neither would admit it. In that moment, cocooned by the storm outside, they were just two men clinging to fragile hope, bodies aligning in a dance of whispered vulnerabilities. "I love you," Jamie breathed against Alex's neck, the words of vow etched in skin. Alex stiffened, then melted, murmuring back, "God help me. I think I do too. Love." It was a reckless word in a city built on NDAs and non-competes, but it fueled them. Jamie threw himself into Alex's orbit, sketching logos for the merger pitch bold, humanistic designs that humanized the tech, incorporating diverse figures in fluid connection, a subtle nod to their own hidden truth. Alex beamed at the concepts, tacking them to the wall beside stock charts, declaring, "This is it, the soul you keep harping on." Evenings stretched into lazy explorations. A drive upstate to the Hudson Valley, where autumn leaves blazed like forbidden signals. Alex's hand finding Jamie's on the gearshift, the radio crooning old Springsteen about highways and heartaches. They hiked trails slick with fallen gold, Jamie's laughter echoing as he pelted Alex with acorns. The billionaire retaliating with mock tackles that dissolved into breathless embraces against ancient oaks. "You're ruining me for boardrooms," Alex grumbled, nuzzling Jamie's collarbone, inhaling the earthy mix of him. "Good," Jamie shot back. "Time you lived outside the lines." Maria watched it all with a mother's wariness, her hands twisting dishcloths into knots during their late-night kitchen raids for midnight tacos. "He's trouble, Jamie. Rich men don't keep promises. They collect them like art." But Jamie, buoyant on the high of firsts. Alex's first drag show in the East Village, cheering raucously as Queen's lip-synced Gaga. Alex's first unscripted, "I love you," over dim sum in Chinatown, brushed her off. "This is different, Ma. He's different with me." And he was. Cracks in the fortress appeared. Alex donating quietly to queer youth shelters, his publicist fielding calls about a rebrand toward inclusivity. Jamie felt it, them against the world rewriting the script. But Victor Lang was no footnote in Alex's past. He was a vendetta incarnate, the golden boy who'd stolen Alex's first real crush at Yale, outing him in a haze of frat house cruelty that still soured Alex's dreams. Now, from his glass area in Midtown, Victor orchestrated the leaks with surgical precision, his latest move a poison chalice. An anonymous tip to the Times about Harrington's personal indiscretions. Vague enough to insinuate but sharp enough to wound. Alex's phone buzzed during a rare dinner at Jamie's Brooklyn brownstone. Greasy pizza on a threadbare couch, fairy lights strung like stars, and his face drained of color. "It's him," he muttered, scrolling the draft email from his PR team. "Victor knows about us." Panic surged, hot and immediate. Jamie reached for him, but Alex recoiled, pacing the cramped living room like it was his penthouse war room. How? Who told him? The accusation landed unspoken, but Jamie felt it like a slap, doubt, that insidious whisper. "Alex, stop. We're solid." But Alex's eyes, stormy as the East River, flicked away. "Are we? You've been around the docks, the calls. Maria's been here 20 years. Does she talk?" Jamie's stomach plummeted. "My mother? Jesus, Alex." The fight erupted then, words flying like shrapnel. Jamie hurling Tyler's ghost. "You think I'd out you after what that bastard did to me?" Alex countering with paranoia born of betrayal. "I can't lose everything, Jamie. Not now." Doors slammed, Jamie storming into the night. Rain soaking his shirt as he pounded Brooklyn sidewalks, chest heaving with sobs that tasted like betrayal's bitter edge. Days blurred into a Cold War. Jamie threw himself into freelance gigs, designing flyers for a Pride fundraiser, the irony twisting like a knife. While Alex buried in damage control, his penthouse a tomb of takeout containers and unanswered texts. Maria bridged the gap, herding her son back one gray Saturday with empanadas and tough love. Fix it or lose it. Love's not a prototype you debug. It's messy, like us. Jamie nodded, resolve hardening, and that night, he slipped upstairs, keycard burning in his pocket. Alex was at the window, city lights fracturing on his tear-streaked face, Scotch glass dangling forgotten. "I was wrong," he rasped as Jamie approached, turning with arms open. Scared shitless, but wrong. They collided, fierce, forgiving. Kisses bruising in their urgency, hands mapping apologies on heated skin. "No more hiding," Alex vowed, pulling Jamie to the rug before the hearth. Their bodies entwining in a rhythm of reclamation. Slow and sacred, a reaffirmation that chased shadows away. Reconciliation bloomed sweeter for the scar. They plotted countermeasures. Alex looping in a trusted PI, tracing the leaks to Victor's inner circle. Jamie infusing the merger pitch with unapologetic heart, his designs going viral in beta tests. Harrington's humanizing tech, the trades buzzed. Stolen weekends in the Hamptons followed. Alex's private jet a chariot to salt-kissed beaches where they walked hand in hand. Jamie's head on Alex's shoulder as waves crashed confessions. "Marry me," Alex murmured one sunset. Ringless but earnest, the word a bridge over chasms. Jamie laughed through tears. "Eloping in Jersey? Hell yes." And they sealed it with salt-lipped kisses, dreams weaving tighter than any contract. But climax brewed in boardrooms, not bedrooms. The merger summit arrived. A glittering gala at the plaza, chandeliers dripping light like liquid gold, power players swirling in tuxes and gowns. Alex, resplendent in midnight blue, Jamie at his side as consultant, felt invincible, until Victor cornered him in the coat room, champagne flute raised like a sword. "Congrats on the glow-up, Alex. Lover boy's a nice touch." Covers the cracks. Smirk sharp as shattered glass. Alex's blood iced. "What do you want?" Victor leaned in, breath sour with victory. "The deal. Sign it over or the world sees your little love letters." Maid'S? Poetic. Tragic. Betrayal crystallized, not Jamie's, but Alex's own naivete. Victor had hacked deeper, snagging emails, photos from that Hamptons hideaway. The truth Alex had guarded for decades, now leverage in a snake's coils. He stumbled back to the ballroom, vision blurring, finding Jamie mid-laugh with investors. "We need to go. Now." The drive home was silence shattered by sobs. Alex unraveling, spilling the threat, Jamie's hand iron on his thigh. "Fight it," Jamie urged, fierce as a lion. "Together." But doubt's echo lingered, a ghost in the machine. The penthouse, once a sanctuary, morphed into a bunker overnight. Curtains drawn against paparazzi flashes. Servers scrubbed by frantic IT teams. Alex's laughter replaced by the tinny ring of encrypted calls. Victor's ultimatum loomed like a guillotine. Concede the merger by week's end, or watch their love splashed across TMZ. Headlines screaming Billionaire's bedroom betrayal. Maid's in the sheets. Alex paced circuits around the island countertop. Phone glued to his ear as lawyers dissected NDAs like coroners at an autopsy. "We countersue," he barked to his counsel, voice frayed to wires. Defamation, extortion, the works. But the fire in his gut flickered. Exposure meant more than scandal. It meant Maria's job, Jamie's privacy shredded, his own closet door kicked wide in a world still sharpening knives for men like him. Jamie, ever the anchor, brewed tea in the kitchen, chamomile, his abuela's cure-all, watching Alex with eyes that held oceans of worry. "You're spiraling," he said softly, sliding a mug across the granite. "Victor's bluffing. He wants you broken, not broadcast." Alex collapsed onto a stool, head in hands, the weight of it all pressing like the skyline's crush. "What if he's not? I built this on secrets, Jamie. One leak, and it's ash." Jamie rounded the island, pulling Alex into an embrace that smelled of home, sandalwood and resilience. "Then we rebuild, openly, proudly." The words were a lifeline, and Alex clung, burying his face in Jamie's neck, the steady thump of his pulse a metronome against chaos. They made love that night on the living room floor, urgent and unhurried, bodies a bulwark against the storm. Kisses like oaths, touches mapping territories no scandal could claim. Dawn brought allies. Marcus Hale, Alex's grizzled mentor from the early startup days. A bear of a man who'd clawed his way from Brooklyn garages to Silicon Valley board seats. Arrived with donuts and a plan. Over coffee in the sunroom, overlooking Central Park's defiant green. Marcus laid it bare. Victor sloppy. His hack left breadcrumbs, IP trails to a dummy corp in Delaware. We flipped the script. Expose him. Jamie, sketching countermeasures on a napkin, flowcharts of digital tripwires, piped up. And the personal angle? We own it. Preemptive press release. Harrington tech champions love in all forms. Alex balked, stomach twisting. Out me? Now? The board. Marcus clapped his shoulder, gruff affection in his growl. The board's dinosaurs, kid. Time to evolve. Besides, I've got your back. Hell, I've been cheering for the queers since Stonewall reruns. The decision crystallized over the next frantic days. A war room in the penthouse, white bards scrawled with strategies. Take out warring with Maria's tamales for dominance. She hovered like a general, force-feeding Alex arepas while muttering prayers in Spanish, her loyalty a steel thread binding them. Jamie thrived in the fray, his artist's eye spotting patterns in the code leaks. Subtle queer-coded Easter eggs Victor had mocked in the emails, a twisted taunt from their Yale days. He's obsessed, Jamie realized, piecing it together late one night, Alex dozing against his shoulder. Not just business. It's you. Unfinished. Alex stirred, blue eyes haunted. He took everything back then, my confidence, my first love. Can't let him take this. Empowerment surged, a tide turning. Alex rehearsed his coming-out statement with Jamie as mirror, words tumbling from polished to raw. I'm Alexander Harrington, and I'm gay, proudly, and the man who helped me see that. He's the heart of my empire. Jamie's grin lit the room brighter than the skyline, pulling him close for a kiss that sealed resolve. They rallied troops, queer influencers for social amplification, allies in media to quash smears. Even Maria stepped up, her network of immigrant staff unearthing dirt on Victor's shady offshore deals. For family, she said simply, hugging Jamie fierce enough to crack ribs. The climax detonated midweek, a Thursday that dawned bloody with tabloid teases. Blurry photos from the gala, captions baiting Harrington's secret squire. Alex's team struck first. A press conference in the Harrington Tech atrium, glass walls framing the city like a challenge. Cameras swarmed as Alex took the podium, Jamie off stage in a sharp blazer, hand brushing his for luck. Lies have no place in innovation, Alex began, voice steady as rebar. Neither does hate. Victor Lang's attempts to undermine this merger stem from personal vendettas, and yes, from bigotry. I'm gay. My partner, Jamie Rivera, is the bravest man I know. Together, we're building a future where love isn't leverage. Gasps rippled, flashes popped like gunfire, but Alex held, unveiling the evidence. Hacked logs, embezzlement trails, Victor's homophobic rants archived from frat emails. The room erupted, questions hurled, but Marcus flanked him, steering the narrative. Harrington Tech stands for all. Deal or no deal. Backlash hit like a nor'easter. Stocks dipped 5 points, board emails flooded with ultimatums. Resign or we revolt. Conservative outlets bayed for blood, dredging Alex's deviant past. Victor retaliated viciously, a midnight dox dropping Jamie's address. Old nudes from Tyler's revenge porn surfacing online. Jamie woke to his phone exploding. Voicemails from trolls, texts from supportive strangers. Collapsing in the bathroom, vomit rising as shame clawed him raw. Alex found him there, curled on tile, and gathered him close, rocking like a child. I'm so sorry, he whispered, tears soaking Jamie's hair. This is my fault. Jamie shook his head, fierce even in fracture. Ours. We fight or we fold. They did, deleting, blocking, leaning on a therapist Marcus recommended. Sessions in the penthouse where tears carved deeper bonds. The tide shifted subtly at first. Queer communities rallied. Love and code trending as artists remixed Jamie's designs into protest graphics. Investors defected from Victor's camp. The merger salvaged by a rogue faction praising Alex's bold authenticity. Victor's empire cracked. SEC probes launched on those Delaware shells, his board ousting him in a bloodless coup. By week's end, as snow dusted the park like absolution, Alex and Jamie stood on the balcony, arms entwined, watching the city heal itself. We survived, Jamie murmured, nuzzling Alex's jaw. More than that, we're free. Alex kissed his temple, the ring he'd slipped on that morning. Simple platinum, engraved soul's code, catching the light. Yeah, free. But freedom's price lingered in quieter moments. Therapy unpacking Alex's closet scars, Jamie's nightmares of exposure chasing him into Dawn's sweats. Maria, promoted to estate manager with a tearful raise, became their North Star, hosting Sunday brunches where laughter drowned doubts. The world watched, some with pitchforks, most with quiet nods. As Harrington tech soared, its apps now laced with inclusivity features Jamie championed. Victor faded to footnotes, a cautionary tale in business schools, hubris in the hack. Yet the true climax wasn't the conference or the countersuit. It was the night after, when exhaustion claimed them. Curled in bed, City hum a lullaby, Alex traced Jamie's spine, voice thick. I almost lost you. Jamie turned, eyes soft. Never. Betrayal's his game, not ours. They made love then. Slow, reverent, a celebration of survival, bodies whispering we're enough. In the afterglow, Jamie sketched idly on Alex's chest, a heart pierced by circuits. Our story, he said. Alex smiled, real and rare. The best one yet. Months unfurled like a well-worn sketchbook, pages filled with the quiet artistry of a life reclaimed. Spring thawed Manhattan's edges, cherry blossoms rioting along the promenade as Alex and Jamie navigated their new normal. A blend of spotlight and shadow, where every outing sparked a hashtag, but every touch grounded them deeper. The merger closed with fanfare, Harrington Lang a hybrid beast rebranded under Alex's vision. Connect Human, apps fostering real bonds, not just data streams. Jamie consulted full-time now, his designs the soul of the interface. Diverse avatars linking in fluid networks, a metaphor for their own tangled paths. Critics called it woke capitalism. Users called it revolutionary. Alex, in rare vulnerability, admitted over rooftop dinners, "You made me believe in us. In me." Challenges persisted, humanistic in their grit. Protests erupted outside HQ. Picket signs decrying corporate rainbows. And Alex faced them head-on, inviting leaders inside for roundtables, Jamie facilitating with his innate empathy. One evening, as rain slicked the streets, a burly activist cornered them post-meet. "This your token gay move?" Alex bristled, but Jamie stepped forward, voice steady. "Nah, it's our life. Messy, real, kinda like democracy." The man deflated, nodding gruff respect, and later emailed an apology. Small victories stacked like bricks, building walls against the wind. Betrayal's echo faded, but not without scars. Victor, indicted on fraud counts, slunk to trial a diminished specter. His glare across the courtroom a final venom, met by Alex's unflinching calm, Jamie's hand hidden under the table. Conviction came swift, a 10-year bid that closed the chapter, but therapy unearthed the rot. Alex's trust issues rooted in that Yale night, Victor's outing a theft of self. Sessions with Dr. Lena, a no-nonsense dyke with a laugh like gravel, peeled layers. "Forgive the boy you were," she'd urge, and Alex did, slowly, in letters burned on the balcony, ashes scattering like released ghosts. Jamie healed too, his art evolving. Exhibits in Soho galleries, canvases of fractured lovers mending under city glows, titles like Circuit Heart. Sales funded a scholarship for queer immigrant youth, Maria beaming at the inaugural awardee. "Like you, Mijo, dreams with dirt under the nails." Romance deepened in the domestic weave. Mornings started with coffee rituals. Jamie grinding beans while Alex reviewed briefs, stolen kisses over the hiss of the machine. Weekends meant escapes. Road trips to the Berkshires, where they'd hike to overlooks, Alex's pack heavy with artisanal cheeses Jamie mocked. "Billionaire picnics, huh?" Then devour under quilts, stargazing till dawn. Anniversaries marked with whimsy. Their first official date a recreate of that library confession, bourbon and sketches, ending in slow dances to Coltrane on vinyl. Alex proposed properly that fall, on bended knee in the Hudson Valley orchard where leaves turned pyre gold. Ring glinting. "Marry me, Jamie Rivera. Not for the world, but for us." Tears and yes. A wedding planned small city hall. Then a reception in the penthouse with Maria's catering and Marcus DJing bad 80s sets. The ceremony was pure them. October crisp, vows exchanged under a rainbow flag fluttering from the balcony. Jamie in a tailored suit the color of espresso, Alex in dove gray, eyes shining like they'd won the stars. "I promise to debug your doubts," Jamie quipped, rings sliding home, drawing laughs from the eclectic crowd. Queer activists, tech vets, Maria dabbing tears with her apron. Alex's response cracked voices. And I'll code you into every line of my life. Bugs, beauty, and all. They kissed to cheers, the city below a witness to redemption. Honeymoon in Provincetown. Beaches and bike rides, hands linked on dunes. Sealed it, nights tangled in linens scented with salt, mornings waking to each other's breath. Humanism threaded the happily ever after. Not in gloss but grit. Alex mentored at-risk queer kids. Jamie's foundation expanding to art therapies for betrayal survivors. Tyler's shadow transmuted to light. Maria retired to a cottage in Queens, but not before a tearful handover. You too, my greatest work. Challenges arose. A market crash testing connect humans' resilience. Health scares. Alex's stress-induced arrhythmia. Jamie's hand steady on the ER gurney. But they met them entwined, conflicts birthing stronger alloys. Years later, at 58, Alex stood on that same balcony, silver fully claiming his hair, Jamie at 44 with laugh lines etching joy. Their son, adopted at 3, a whirlwind of curls and questions named Mateo after Maria, toddled nearby, chasing fireflies in summer dusk. Papa, why's the city wink? He asked, pudgy hand in Alex's. Jamie chuckled from the lounge, wineglass raised. Because it's full of stories, Mijo, like ours. Alex pulled them close, the trio a constellation against the lights. Betrayal had frozen him once, in feigned sleep. Now truth thawed him daily. In Mateo's giggles, Jamie's knowing glance, the empire they'd humanized. No fairy tale gloss, this, just love, dramatic and dogged. A gay American odyssey from test to testament. As stars pricked the velvet sky, Alex whispered to Jamie, worth every crack. Jamie's smile, soft as dawn, answered, every one.